Thanks for watching. Um, yeah, so if you haven't watched before, but we're gonna be doing a pre-lift live. Um, so if you're watching after the live, you're gonna have to probably skip forward a little bit before we get into the good stuff. But this one we'll be talking about anything really you guys want to talk about. Any arm wrestling topics, powerlifting topics, gym topics, stuff like that. Um, so I'll probably say this a couple times throughout this live, but make sure you get the first ever Dungeon Super Series. It's a pay per view on Stone TV. Um, it's under memberships, and there's only one place to watch those nine incredible matches. What's up, Josh? He says, "Yo, good morning. You're in New Jersey again, right? You're in New Jersey, right? Um, I'll say I don't know how far away Connecticut is to you, but we have practice today, 5 p.m. I'm not sure if Dave Morocco is supposed to show up. I haven't heard from him, but he's supposed to show up at practice. Apparently, he's working in Connecticut. Josh says yes, sir. So he's from New Jersey. That's good. You're welcome to join us if you want to make the trip to Connecticut. Um, Brian is in the chat. What's up, man? I'll see you later at practice. Sailor's supposed to be there, she said too. Said she's feeling better, so that's good. She's not sick anymore, so that's good. Um, Depending on how I feel Wednesday morning, I may head up to Mass and pull with Fitzy and the Mass boys if anybody wants to make the trip. But I'm not. It's not locked in. It's gonna be how I feel Wednesday morning. Then I'll decide. Um, but I'm planning on going pretty hard today on the table. Um, Maybe not two-handed work, but maybe definitely hard stuff. I know last week we did some two-handed work with Brian, and yeah, it was definitely good. Um, let's see. Um, any arm wrestling topics you guys want to talk about? Any um, any certain topics, powerlifting, gym topics you guys want to talk about? Um, Maybe some potential matchups for the next Dungeon Super Series. Uh, One that I think might be a good match is the High Chief versus um, Brian Malek. I think they're about a similar weight. I think they faced in the past, and it's been a while since they you know met up on the table. um, some matches are trickier than others. Um, at least for me, I'm trying to think of lightweights, lighter weight classes for men's matchups and women's matchups. I'm not as familiar as I am with the super heavyweights, but I'm definitely getting more and more familiar with all the different classes um, and divisions. Um, but yeah, there's a couple. I gotta talk to the athletes, see if they're interested first before we dive any deeper. Um, let's see. We do have some. We got some Team Stone shirts left. These are the, I want to say, fourth or fifth generation. I forget. Um, we have some of these shirts left. These, Turtle Man 2 t-shirts from the second annual Turtle Man Classic. Um, both go for 30. They could be shipped. You just got to pay for shipping. Um, but what do you guys got? Any arm wrestling? I see we got some people in the chat. What do you guys got? Any arm wrestling questions? Powerlifting questions? But let's see. Um, I could probably start. I could most likely start practice early today. Uh, so if anyone wants to show up early, usually we start at 5. But I could probably start at 4. If anyone wants to show up early, get some extra training in, I could most likely do that today. Um, Kumar says hi. What's up, man? Brian says hello. What's up, Brian? Um, Thanks for watching. And if you guys like arm wrestling, you picked the right channel, Stone TV. We do some arm wrestling stuff. Rinku, also known as Kumar, depending on if you call him by his first or last, says, "Where are you from?" I'm from the United States. And then he says, Kumar says, "I am from India." Oh, very nice. We got quite a bit of, you have a lot of fellow, Indian country members probably in the chat. Yesterday there was 2 or 3 guys from India. Um, I can't remember their YouTube names, um, but they're cool dudes. Um, so Kumar says like, done, check mark. I appreciate that. I think he says he hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that, man. Um, let's see. Today I'm gonna do before training today. I'm just gonna do a recovery lift. Um, but Kumar asked, "Do you like India?" Um, I've never been to India, but definitely probably be a nice place to check out. I bet they got a lot of cool spots. But yeah, so I can't remember if I think I just said this, but I'm gonna do a recovery lift. Probably do some light legs and some light pronation, flexion, like full bodies. Probably do some abs too. Nothing crazy, just move some blood around and stuff. So Kumar says, "I like your cap. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is the Team Stone hat. I got the Team Stone logo on it. Um, I've always had the idea. Well, um, like let's see. I've always thought about doing karate belts and judo and stuff like that. They have different colors to show different levels. I always thought about doing something like that with hats or something. Um, could be fun, especially for arm wrestling. The classic. You gotta from the over the top movie. You gotta turn the hat back. Um, but Scorpion says hello. What's up, Scorpion? If you don't know, there's a black Scorpion in the arm wrestling world, and she's a pretty good arm wrestler. She's actually one of the athletes I've been thinking about to try to get her a match at the next Dungeon Super Series. Um, the tricky thing is with the Black Scorpion is she's lighter, but she's very strong, and I think she prefers to pull someone her own weight, which is definitely fair. Um, but it's tricky to find someone similar weight that's not going to require a giant, uh, you know, plane ticket kind of thing. Um, but let's see. So I'm seeing some messages, but it looks like so they were retracted, and now we got another message. He's talking about Area 51, the old. You gotta watch out for the aliens and all that stuff. Um, let's see. So for the next Dungeon Super Series, what I'm thinking right now is the first one we did 9 matches. This one we will probably do 10, probably no more than 10. Um, I think 9 to 10 is a good number for a super series, a super match event. Um, I would like to do 8 male matches, 2 female matches. Um, one of the men's matches will be a sit down. I'm thinking 1 to 2 will be a round robin, and the rest will be a super match where it's 1-on-1. Um, but I am open to ideas if there's any type of matches you guys like to see. Like, do you guys like to see the handicap matches? Like, my last match versus a team of 3, John, Damien, and Andrew, where it's a 1 versus 3. Do you guys like to see traditional arm wrestling where it's 1-on-1, very super traditional? Um, do you like the round robins where it's kind of like uh, tournament super matches combined? Or maybe do you prefer watching tournaments? You know, that's definitely something to think about. So I'd like to know what you guys enjoy watching the most. Out of all the types of arm wrestling. Even if there's something I missed, like freedom arm wrestling, if that's your favorite to watch. Now, this question is for viewing and watching only, like not competing. Like, as a fan, what is your favorite type of arm wrestling to watch? Because I'm curious what you guys think, what your guys' opinions are. Let's see. Check the time real quick. All right. Josh says super matches. Now, Josh, let's dig a little deeper into just the super matches. So you prefer watching super matches the most? Um, I definitely agree with that. Super matches are my favorite to watch and my favorite to compete in. But do you prefer super loose rules for super matches, super strict rules for super matches, or somewhere in the middle with what type of rules do you prefer for the super matches? So Kumar says, "Bro, are you YouTube notification question mark? Because you pop up every time I come online." Maybe, man. I might, if you subscribe, maybe it pop. There's might be a little notification, but I'm glad that you get the notification because we're having a good time. Um, so Josh says strict period. Um, Now you talk about like WAF. You prefer the WAF style, where like that type of style. Um, Now there's another question about super matches. Do you prefer live matches or edited matches? You know, so I think there's pros and cons to both, but I think you could do like I think um, edited matches are the way to go. You can make things, you can make the match, you know, good. You can, you know, you do a lot of things. Plus, you can keep the action going. So Brian says, missed half this live. I was getting a history lesson from a guy making my sandwich. Hey man, I tell you what, that's a good deal. Hopefully, as long as that history is right, hopefully you're talking about something cool. Maybe you're talking about the history of sandwiches itself, like who made the first sandwich, or were you guys talking about something different? But I tell you what, good sandwich is always good. So Kumar says, yes, yes, with a laughing face. Uh, that's good, man. That's definitely good. The old notification. So Josh says live, but the theatrics on something produced are two different things. I happen to love them both because I do both. Yeah, definitely. I think they're both good. Um, I think there's pros and cons. Um, Maybe what I meant to say before was like you could make a higher quality. I mean, but the downside is it takes longer to get out. The pro of live is people watch it as soon as it's out. Um, so Brian says WW2. Oh, that's interesting. There's always some interesting history with those stuff. We were talking about some of that stuff about the remember the foot soldiers, the foot soldiers on speed. Josh says it's honestly apples and oranges to me. Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like you know some people like apples, some like oranges, some like both. And some will even mix them together and eat them at the same time. You know. You gotta watch out for those people. But uh, no, I definitely. I think you need both. That's why I think it's good to have multiple organizations out. You know what I mean? Because some will do live, some will do edited. You know, some might do both. Um, so Slug says, "What's up, playa? Nice hat. I appreciate that." Slug. Uh, he also says, "Slug says, hey, bro, you arm wrestle? Question mark? Exclamation point. I do a little arm wrestling. Um, arm wrestling is a fun sport. So, with that being said, Slug, if you like arm wrestling, you picked the right channel because we talk about arm wrestling, a whole bunch of stuff, arm wrestling related, maybe even powerlifting related. I used to do some powerlifting. Um, so let's see. We got some comments in here. I'm just checking them. So let's see. So Slug says that's crazy. I've been in arm wrestling for the past 2 years. Got a few medals. Very nice. Uh, Slug says, "What state you from?" I'm from Cali. I'm on the other side of the country, East Coast, Northern East Coast. But who you train with in California? You train with who you train with? I might know some of the guys you train with. So we got some interesting. Might be some bots. Maybe there's some bots in there. So Brian Jones says you could release two versions, editing theatrical version first and then live match version later. That could definitely be something, you know. Um, I think it definitely could be done, but I think it gets tricky if you do a pay per view. You know, because I think if you do a pay per view, you might have to. Well, you could probably do both, but you might have to pick which one gets the pay per view. Um, but yeah, it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. Let's see. I gotta check some of these comments. Whoops, almost lost the phone. So, Pimp says, dude, looks like a strong man. I appreciate that. Fun fact, I did one strongman competition when I was 18, but I preferred powerlifting. Now I'm an arm wrestler. Um, so Josh says, oops, hold on, I'm missing stuff. Um, Josh says, how do you do a live version later? Question mark. Um, I'm not sure. Maybe I read that wrong. Maybe, but if there's a will, there's a way, right? Um, maybe you just record it live and then just have like a 7 hour video you post later. You know, maybe that could be something. So Slug says the armbenders, Grizzly, Casey, or Tom Nelson, and all of them usually go to Mike McGraw's house to practice. Yeah, I mean, I've never actually met those guys. I know Tom Nelson from videos. Grizzly, is that the? That's not the guy from Over the Top, right? That can't be. Maybe it is though. Uh, but hey, if you're at practice with those guys, one thing I've had an idea for a long time. I wanted to do like a East Coast versus West Coast arm wrestling match. So if you guys are interested in having like an East versus West Coast arm wrestling match, maybe bring it up at practice. Maybe we'll have the right size teammates for everyone to have like a super match, a team super match. BMW says, "Yo, bro, what's up, man? Thanks for watching." Josh says, "Live would have to come first, completely uh, ISO recorded and produced after the fact." Yeah, definitely. That's probably the way to do it.